Hey, nature photographers, it's Lee Hoy, and I am back with you after having been gone for a month in India and then in Florida doing my OM System Only Mastering Birds in Flight workshop. And I wanted to share with you a simple tip on photographing groups of birds. We were doing birds in flight, but we did do some perch birds and groups of birds, flocks. And I wanted to let you know that whenever you're photographing groups of birds, there's one tip in particular that I think will help you capture more visually compelling images, whether it be birds in flight or perched groups of birds or wading birds, whatever it might be. So stay tuned. I'll be back with you, and I'm going to give you that tip.
Hello, my name is Lee Hoy, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Lee Hoy Photography. I'm an OM System Ambassador, Senior Workshop Instructor for Wildside Nature Tours. I'm a workshop instructor for Precision Camera and Video, and a contributing author for the Journal of Wildlife Photography.
Well, some of you may or may not know that for many years I was involved in saltwater aquariums and freshwater aquariums, and I've always really enjoyed laying out, whether it be live rock in saltwater aquariums or in freshwater aquarium design. And I've always been very fascinated by the famous Japanese freshwater aquarium designer Takashi Amano. And there's a company built around the tools he created and the stones he used. There were many different types of stones. But one of the most important principles comes to how you lay out a freshwater aquarium. And there's a style of freshwater aquarium design called iwagumi. And in that style, you would place stones, and each stone has a different name, and the stones have to be placed in a certain ratio and layout. But one of the things that comes out of that, as well as other areas of art, is that it is always more pleasing. You always wanted to use 3, 5, or 7 stones in the iwagumi aquarium design. I think you'll also find when photographing groups of birds, particularly in flight or, wading birds, flocks, whatever it might be, small numbers of birds under 10 are always going to look better if it's an odd number of birds. So as you're composing your image, whether, again, in flight, as we're tracking, the beauty of AI subject detection autofocus is that it frees us up to really focus on our composition. Now, you may occasionally capture some pleasing images of even number birds, but I think you'll find overall that an odd number is always going to result in a more visually compelling image. And this just holds true in a lot of different things. So, whenever I was designing my aquariums, I would always purchase odd numbers of stones and work a layout actually in the store before I bought the stones and took them home. So, if I'm looking through my viewfinder at a flock of birds, I am going to do my best, if it's 10 or under, to get an odd number of birds in the frame. And again, if I'm tracking, I'm moving my camera around because I would prefer to capture the image in camera the way I want it. Well, so here's my challenge for you. The next time you're out photographing some birds, I want you to practice capturing some images of both even and odd number of birds, and then I want you to assess your images and see if this rule doesn't generally hold true. It's a simple tip, but I believe in the long run you're going to find that your images have more impact. They'll be more visually compelling. And of course, how they're arranged within the image. Whenever I have flocks of birds under 10, I like to try to minimize overlap, especially in flight. Now, if there is some overlap, I don't want one wing blocking another bird's head. I don't want a bird clipped at the edge of the frame. I don't want a bunch of odd wing positions. I get very particular when it comes to assessing and culling images of groups of birds. And I think this tip will bear itself out over time. And so, the next time you got gulls, shorebirds, wading birds, any flock of birds that are easy to follow, separate, look at adjusting your position or the angle of your camera to help you isolate odd numbers of birds. Now, and I'll be working on a video for the 100 to 400, the new version 2 lens. I'm going to be reviewing a brand new Photo Pro tripod, so stay tuned. I've got some cool stuff coming up. I'm home for a week before heading for Argentina. You guys take care. Go capture some visually compelling images.